Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I have the trifecta of cake mixes from the Aldi baking aisle, and we are gonna make all the recipes on the back of them and see if they're any good. Alright, if you're new here, hi, I'm Claire. Welcome, come on in, make yourselves comfortable. I am in the kitchen today, one of my favorite places to make content, so if you like food content and cooking content and budget content, because, you know, I love Aldi, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. So, if you have been following me for a while, you know I love Aldi. I do the majority of my grocery shopping there. A lot of my recipes on this channel are using Aldi ingredients because, of course, you get the best deal on them. And in the Aldi baking aisle, you will find these 3 cake mixes by the Aldi brand Baker's Corner. They're around $1 a box. Super good deal for a last minute cake or, you know, treat or whatnot. We've got the classic yellow, we have classic white, and we have devil's food. So I thought, because I do enjoy an Aldi recipe, normally I make my recipes myself or I adapt them from ones I find online. However, does anyone ever make the recipes on the backs of boxes? Like, I feel like this is something our mothers and grandmothers did before the internet. And I just got to thinking, why don't we try them out and see if they're good? Alright, so we are going to start with the yellow cake mix, and we are making a cherry pineapple crisp. We've got 1 can of crushed pineapple. We also have a can of cherry pie filling. We have a stick of butter and some pecans. And that's it. All the ingredients sourced from Aldi, of course. And the pecans were not already chopped. I think you can get them already chopped, but these were the only pecans they had in there. The recipe does just call for chopped nuts, but I could tell by the photo on the back of the box that they were in fact pecans. So I am chopping them myself. And we are going to need 1 cup of them. And this is the only prep work for the whole recipe. This was so easy. So I'm just putting the whole can of pineapple juice and all in the bottom of a 9x13 pan. And to that I am adding my can of cherry pie filling. I think probably other pie filling flavors would be good too, but I think Aldi only sells cherry pie filling. That's the only one I've ever seen there. And yeah, so that's why I picked it. And then you just pour your whole cake mix on top. You don't mix it, you just pour it right on there. Now I'm going to add my chopped pecans. And I'm going to cut up my stick of butter, half a cup of butter there. So a lot of butter. And I'm just going to put it on the top. And once it goes in the oven, that butter will melt. It'll make the cake mix nice and crispy. So you just want to like put it in little chunks and spread it evenly over the top of the cake. Now I'm putting it in a 350-degree oven for an entire hour. And oh my goodness, it smelled so good. And it was so beautiful. The little cherry bits were bubbling on the side. Oh my gosh, so good. Next, we have the white cake mix, and on the back, we have a cookies and cream cupcake recipe. Now, to get a white cake, you have to only use egg whites because it is that egg yolk that will make it yellow. So, actually, this was quite easy. You just followed the regular cake instructions from the cake mix. So, water, oil, eggs. And I'm just going to blend it on up together to make it nice and smooth. And the fun part about this recipe is, of course, the cookie bits. These are Aldi's version of Oreos, a lot cheaper and just as good. My favorite way to make cookie crumbs is to throw them in a Ziploc bag and use my rolling pin to smash them all up. It's just easier than like a chopper or whatever. This is the method I've always used. And we're going to add half a cup into our batter. You could make a whole cake out of this, but because we're following those instructions on the back, we are making cupcakes. And a hack you'll see here is I actually ran out of cupcake liners, so I just used a little bit of parchment paper. So if you run out or if you don't have any, parchment paper is a great substitute. I just cut a little square and stuck it on in the hole, and it worked perfectly. And these took about 35 minutes in a 350-degree oven. All right, now the recipe calls for the vanilla frosting from Baker's Corner, but here is a trick that you should really use if you are using canned frosting. You gotta whip it up. And if you don't have a KitchenAid stand mixer like I do, you can totally just use a hand mixer like what I used for the batter. This will totally transform this frosting because it's kind of like thick and sticky, and when you whip it up, add some air in there, it's going to go a little further, and yeah, it just elevates the frosting like a lot. I saw this on TikTok, and now I will forever do it. You can definitely just use a spreader knife to decorate your cupcakes. However, I have the pastry bag, so I'm just going to go for it. It makes things a lot neater, so I'm just going to do it that way. And this was the perfect amount of frosting for the dozen cupcakes that I made. And I'm just using the rest of the cookie bits to stick to the top. And really, they looked exactly like the photo. I was pretty pleased. And now on to the Devil's Food cake mix. On the back, we have a delicious looking mocha cake. And you're going to need some instant coffee and some brewed coffee that has been cooled down to room temperature. And the other ingredients are just the regular ingredients you'd use for the cake, which are eggs and oil. So basically, the biggest difference is that you're swapping out the water in the cake for coffee. And I think probably you could do that with any cake recipe. So I do appreciate that inspiration because it's not really something I'd thought of. And you also add 2 tablespoons of the Aldi instant coffee as well, just to ramp up the coffee flavor. And now this recipe did call for 2 8-inch cake pans. However, I only had 9-inch ones, so I knew that this would be a little, the layers would be thinner than the one on the picture, but that's okay. And I believe these cooked for about half an hour at 350. When they came out, I did my best to kind of level them off without trying to take too much cake out of there, just because my layers were already pretty thin. And it calls for the Baker's Corner chocolate frosting. We're going to whip this again. And you'll note the difference in color. That's how you know that it's really gotten whipped. But I'm also adding some of that instant coffee as well, 2 more tablespoons. And honestly, this was my biggest issue with this recipe is, I don't know if you can tell, but there's little gritty bits in this frosting. I could not for the life of me get that instant coffee to dissolve. And I did use the Aldi brand, which is what they recommended in the recipe. So I'm not sure if a different brand would be better, or maybe I would have just skipped that part next time if I ever made this again. And I could tell immediately that this was not enough frosting to frost an entire surface area of this cake. I've definitely made enough cakes to know that wasn't enough. You would need 2 cans of frosting to really frost the sides and have a nice thick layer. So we're making this more like a sandwich style cake, so I'm not going to frost the sides. It's kind of a naked cake, if you will. You can see a little bit better now, like how gritty that frosting is. And even though we didn't frost the sides, I think it really did turn out quite pretty still. So not exactly like the photo, but pretty close. And let me tell you, my kids couldn't believe that I just whipped out all these desserts for them to try. They were excited.
Mommy, you're taking a bite too. Are you taking a bite? How's this?
Oh, that's good.
It's really good. I'm surprised at how delicious that is.
Next one.
Oh my gosh.
We'll do this one next.
You're already ready to move on? Okay.
So I want to do this one.
I'm gonna eat this whole piece.
That is so delicious.
I'm not in the video.
Well, because you're not trying this. You'll be in the next part.
You ready to try the mocha cake?
Yeah.
I give this like an 8 out of 10 dessert
No, give
wise.
it a 10 out of 10.
No, I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. 10 out of 10 for me would be like a creme brulee. What would you give it out of 10?
Solid.
I would get
9? Oh yeah, it's
I
really
would
good.
Kids can't have coffee.
Well, you can have a bite of cake. It'll be fine.
It's custom.
You want to get a little bit of the frosting in there too.
Let's get the cake part on mine. Oh, I didn't get mine.
Have you eaten cake before?
Why? Why?
Oh, this one's mine.
I don't like it at all.
Oh, love it.
No way you think that's good.
10 out of 10.
No way.
10 out of 10.
It's bitter.
10
Yeah.
out of 10.
It's bitter.
10
It's
out of
bad.
10.
There's no way you think that's good.
That's your favorite?
Yeah, it's a little chocolate.
What? You like it too?
What do you give it, Desmond?
10 out of 10.
Really?
10.
I would give it like a 3.
Yeah, like 4.
You eat a 3.
The texture is really
Give
nice.
it a 3
But-
out of 3.
I mean, the cake itself is
It's-
like,
it's
the
really
crumb
good.
is good. Like, it's just,
It's the flavor that's off.
it's bitter. All right, time for our darling little cookies and cream cupcakes. I know you guys want the whole thing, don't you?
Yes.
You can have a whole cupcake. I really like the way that the cookies are like really well dispersed, like all the way through the cake.
10 out of 10.
They didn't like
Yum.
sink or anything.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
Mm.
Now
8
that's-
out of 10. Yeah.
It's pretty basic. However,
But like perfect for like a party.
a classic, yeah, classic flavors. I think that the frosting is pretty good for being a canned frosting, but if I were going to make something like this again, I think a homemade buttercream would really make it just that much better.
Set it off.
But they look quite nice too, I think.
Yes.
All right, so overall, the Baker's Corner cake mixes are a great deal. They're really versatile. However, when it comes to Aldi's recipes that they have created for us, there was definitely a clear winner here, and that was without a doubt the pineapple cherry crisp. Oh my goodness, so delicious. If those kind of flavors are your vibe, you have to try it. It's like a pie cake magical situation. So it's kind of interesting how they all turned out. Let me know down below. Are you the type of person that still cooks things from recipes on the backs of boxes? I would love to hear. And do you have any that are like tried and true that you got from a box that you use all the time still? I'd love to hear it. And of course, come on back for more. I post 2 new videos every week. I would love to have you, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.